everybody. Hola a todos. This is Paula Guthrie from Creating Purpose with Pau. I welcome you to the Spanglish World Network and Heart Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download Single TV app on the respective app stores. When you download it, please rate it and let us know how we're doing our job. You can find Single TV on Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. Hello, thank you for being here. Today in the house, we have a beautiful guest. She is Coach D. She is a brain health trainer. She is also an elite neuroencoding specialist that is here today to guide us on how to go from surviving to thriving. So, welcome to the house, Coach D. Thank you for being here.
Paula, it is my utmost pleasure to be your guest again. I am watching your show. I love how you're growing, how your guests are growing with you, and all the knowledge you're providing for everybody. So it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please share with us a little bit about your background so our beautiful audience can get to know you a little bit more.
Fantastic. Well, I have been a coach for over 15 years, but previously to being a brain coach and an elite neuroencoding specialist, I was a career coach. And I discovered that that was not fulfilling. I was getting good money, but you know what? Money is not everything. And one point you realize that you're just not fulfilled. The bank account is not everything. And we can see all around us, there are so many people that are doing great financially, yet they're not so happy in life. They're depressed, they have anxiety, fear of failure, fear of success, self-loathing, self-doubt. So that's what I work with. I use brain health methodology from Dr. Amen, who trained me on brain health and brain coaching. And I use Dr. Joseph McElden's the third neuropsychology. And I combine those two in a very unique way where we get you from surviving to thriving. We look at your brain. We see, okay, this part needs a little bit upgrading. So we work with that specific part, and those feelings of fear, of anxiety, of low self-worth literally rewire into a thriving personality where you can really live the life you want to live without sacrificing much and not going to therapy for another 20 years. Because let me tell you, life is absolutely fantastic when you get to the other side.
I believe you. I do believe you because you and I have studied together. So yes, there is beautiful strategies and techniques out there that can help us move towards our goals a little bit faster than what we thought. So could you please share with us, like on your personal story, how did you go from surviving to thriving?
Right. So I was raised in Eastern Europe, where culturally we're very different than Americans. Being joyful, laughter is not really something it is respected, and you have to be very serious to have respect of other people. There are even sayings that if you're happy, then you're laughing like an idiot to a cheese. Now, obviously, it's a translation, but it shows the mindset of how joy is perceived, because it is believed that adults cannot be happy because there are so many problems and there are so many obstacles. Then how could you be happy, right? And I went through a lot in life. I had a son who I gave birth to at 19 from a relationship where inside the relationship I was raped, I was abused, I had a gun to my head, and that man was the father of my child. And then my son passed away at age of 16 months. I also died on the table giving birth to my son. And then I turned into, I'm going to prove to them I can make it. After 2 years of depression, absolutely horrific depression, where I couldn't get out of bed. I don't remember actually anything from those 2 years. I only know what happened to me because of the stories people told me. I became this ultra masculine woman, thriving in my career, succeeding. I was an advisor to the European Union. I was advisor to the Polish president. I was part of the shadow cabinet in Poland, and analyzing data on labor market. Run my own company. Got married. got divorced, got married for totally wrong reasons. And I still, everybody was going, oh my God, you're so strong. You're so amazing. I admire you. And I would come home and cry. I was utterly miserable. I was surviving by a thread. I was unhappy. I was angry. I was frustrated. I took everything as an attack on me. I hated men with passion because I associated them with pain. And I did all those things, and while being also a public speaker, a public person on the media and, on TV, on the radio, in the newspaper, so many times, people would also chase me down because they didn't agree with my belief system. They would threaten me. So I lived in permanent stress and permanent flight or fight mode. That was absolutely horrific. I don't wish this to my worst enemy. And then one day I woke up and I was like, okay, this this cannot be alive. This is not why we're here. There is no way I can live like this for the rest of my life. I am done. So I started reading and I started going to, free seminars and webinars. And I tried therapy, and that wasn't for me. I tried psychologists. That didn't work out well. And then I run into a just brand new this idea of a coach. That was so weird. And, she would ask me questions and I had those aha moments. And instead of, after 2 years of therapy, because of the abuse and because of everything that happened to me, nothing changed. And then after a few months I was better. I was like, I like this is amazing. But that wasn't my time to become a brain coach and a holistic life coach. That wasn't, I wasn't ready yet. I needed to work on me. I needed to thrive. I wanted to be this person that practices what she preaches. So I worked and read and had more coaches and got to a place where I literally am a happy human. Do I have bad days? Of course I do. Everybody does. Um, but the truth is that I am thriving. And no matter if I'm going uphill or downhill or I'm just standing on a hill, I see possibilities. I'm positive because I look for possibilities, and possibilities light me up because I know that there is more coming. And even if it's not here now, I get to imagine, I get to have the experiences that are coming my way. That's a very different Dominica than I was many, many years ago. And trust me, successful people, women who pretend that we got it all, we don't. And if you're one of those women, one of your listeners is one of those women, yeah, you're not. And I know you're not because I wasn't either. But everybody thinks you've got it all together, don't they? So that's how I went from surviving to thriving. I said, I'm done. I'm done with the way I'm living because that's no way to live. I cannot be frustrated, angry, and miserable all the time. I cannot be pushing people away. And I'm a mom. I want to raise beautiful, feminine, and strong in their femininity women that can be feminine and flowy, yet have a vision for their life that can fit into any situation without putting on the side their needs, without forgetting about themselves, without pleasing others, yet being happy with who they are. And I think I did that. So now, guess what? I'm thriving.
I'm happy for you. Yes, yes, you are thriving. You are living your dream now, right? You're professional. I see you growing. Uh, as a mom as well, you have two beautiful daughters that you have taught them well. So that's awesome. How can you tell our audience what a feminine behavior is?
So, the beautiful thing about being feminine is that it's not one definition fits all. See, femininity doesn't mean you have your nails done or your makeup done. It doesn't necessarily mean how you do your hair. It's not necessarily how you dress. It's how you feel and how you flow. And we women have beautiful power, and that power is not the. So most people think you can be either or. How about being both? See, when we're managing our teams, Feminine power might get in a way because it shows options. It's flowy, it's elegant, it's smooth. Not necessarily the appearance, but how you feel inside. Masculine is decision making. But the feminine power allows you to ask the right questions so somebody feels empowered because of the question you ask and they have their aha moments. That's the feminine part in us. And the nurturing part is very important, but so is the decision making and setting boundaries, which is on the masculine side. That's not necessarily a feminine trait. So, what's beautiful about a feminine leader and a woman is that you get to rediscover yourself and create what works for you. There's no one definition. It's not black and white. We merge those two. It's which one comes through, how you move your hands. I mean, we can all be flowy and beautiful, right? But if you're in danger, please don't use your feminine energy. Please use your masculine, make a decision and run, okay? Or call 911. This is not the time to analyze and be thoughtful and caring. So we need both, and men do too. But that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, going back to that, in a woman is like I think of a 6 year old or a 5 year old, how they giggle and they laugh, and then before you know, they're on the floor throwing a fit because they don't agree with something. But then they get up and then they smile and then they joke. So that's how I believe, I truly believe that our women, we need more of that. We need more laughing. We need more giggles, not to take life so serious. Because I think we're in a generation that has been allowed, for us to like, okay, I'm gonna take control of my life, but we do it with more, uh, like a masculine way instead of like, let's just enjoy it and do it laughing and having a good time.
The letting go is so important because it relieves you of the expectations. The expectations are a straight road to anxiety, fear, and all those things that then later on we have to work on. Or, well, we don't have to. We usually choose to work on them because they stop us from living. I went out with a friend, to dinner, and I live in Houston. And we got this huge rainfall. I mean, when it rains in here in Houston, it rains. Like there is a wall of, and it was beautiful, it was warm. And my masculine side would say, you're going to get your clothes dirty and you're going to get wet and your makeup is going to run. And me, the little girl, the feminine me, took off the high heels, leaving that expensive and exclusive restaurant. And I just went straight into the rain and started slapping my bare feet on the ground and just laughing like a little kid. See, that is something that comes from joyful femininity, the childish femininity. That is so important because it sets you free. I mean, yeah, people probably looked at me like I'm crazy, leaving, an expensive restaurant, taking my heels off and walking in the rain, not waiting for an umbrella and being all proper, which of course I can do. And that also can be feminine. But using all your resources, using all of you, and finding out what makes you happy, what makes you joyful is so important in life. And we seem to lose that very often when we grow up. We're so proper. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what it should be. Who says who? Our parents? Society? And there is a way to find you in all the shoots. One of the favorite saying from the institute that we both came from is don't shoot over yourself. And the shoots keep you in the state of expectations, getting frustrated when it doesn't go your way. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yes, definitely. It was like sometimes we take life too serious because, we should do this, we should be that, we should accomplish, this first before we get to be happy, before we can enjoy life. Because I remember that when I was about to graduate college. After I graduate college, then I'll get to be happy. Until I graduate, then I'll get to enjoy life more. And then you get there, and then you're like, oh, hang on, this is not happening the way I expected, because
Absolutely.
it comes within us.
What you said is so, so important. I absolutely love what you said. And I think a great example for that comes, I don't know, from one of the people I listened to. I don't remember who said that, but they gave an example. And it's a phenomenal thing that men do. So when they're watching a game, they're celebrating every pass that gets them closer to a goal. They celebrate every goal, every shot, every point. They don't go, oh, no, no, I'm not going to celebrate unless they win. No, I'm not enjoying this. No, I'm not going to celebrate until they win. I'm not doing this. And that example is so important because in life, when you were in college, you could have celebrated every test you passed. You could have celebrated every month you're in college and you did good. You could have celebrated every year you graduated. You could have celebrated making a new friend, and on top of that, celebrated when you graduate. And the same thing with sports games. Let's treat the celebration the way we treat watching a game of sport. We're cheering up that team every second, even 2 millimeters when they get closer to the opponents and getting that goal, getting something in. We're like, yes, come on, go, go, go. And in life, oh, yeah, you got only 2 clients. Well, you should have gotten 6.
My friend got 5. You only got 2? What?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to get your stuff together, girl. Right? And we're losing the joy of life because those joyous moments are everywhere. And that is part of thriving. That is an important part of thriving because you cannot thrive unless you're able to notice the small things that lead you to the big success.
Being in the present moment.
Absolutely. And our coach Vinu Keller says that, right? Being in the present is not only concentrating, putting your phone away, but also noticing and actually intending to listen and intending to be joyous. The intention is so important. Sometimes I've done that before. I don't know if you have, but I have. I would be in a room, but just be with me instead of being present with the people who came there to see me. And sometimes my girls, they remind me, they go like, Mom, I came here to see you, right? Could you please put all of this away? And I want to be with you. I want your attention on me. And it's so beautiful that I am respectful of that, when they communicate that. And it's so important that they're able to say that what they need, this is what they want, right? How often do we say to somebody else, hey, you're an amazing human. I would love 15 minutes of your undivided attention. That is so important.
And they trust you. You have built that trust. It's like, hey, mom, I'm here. Let's have a conversation.
So yes, surviving and thriving is, they're big words, and they can mean something else for everybody else. For somebody is getting a great job. For somebody is being in a happy marriage. But what stops everybody, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this or not, but surviving is a state where you're okay and you would want more, but you're saying, no, it's not for me. It's okay. I'll be okay with that. I don't need this fancy dinner. I don't need to spoil myself. No, that's okay. Instead of the vacations I'm dreaming of, I'm just going to go and buy myself a t-shirt at Target, or I'm going to get myself ice cream. Surviving is going, hey, you know what? I would love to go to a theater, but no, that's okay. I'll go to the movies. I'm not going to bother anybody. The bother thing is a very powerful, painful anchor that we have as humans, and it's very dangerous because that means you're way behind everybody else, and it should be the other way around. And thriving also means having dreams and pursuing them and enjoying the pursuit, not necessarily the result. And that is also part of thriving. Also, self-worth is part of thriving. If you do not believe you deserve the best in life, at the same time working on yourself, really you will take whatever life gives you, and you get in life whatever you tolerate. And how much are you willing to tolerate? And then on the other hand, how strong are you inside? How really do you know yourself? When I train and I do my keynotes and public speaking and I do my trainings, I love this example. When I choose somebody that looks totally different than I can imagine, and let's say let's say I would say, "You stupid blonde, all blondes are stupid." And I would start yelling at you, saying all those things. And you would be like, look at me, okay, that lady's absolutely crazy. Okay, whatever you say, absolutely, I'm a stupid blonde. Keep going, right? Keep talking. The reason why that doesn't trigger you, it's because you're 1,000,000% sure that you're not blonde. There's no doubt in your mind. Yet, if I would say something that internally you're not as convicted of, you would get offended or triggered and you would get angry. What are you saying? I'm acting or I'm being, right? And
Mhm.
it will become an emotional response. You're not thriving if you're in that state. You can't thrive because you truly haven't grounded yourself in who you are. You can call me literally every name in the book. You can tell me I'm stupid, I'm a stupid Pollock. You can say whatever you want, and I'll go, okay, okay, I get it. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Why? Because internally I know who I am. It doesn't mean that I'm, dismissing everybody around me. It just means I know my worth. And your opinion of me does not influence that. And I still love you. You have a right to your opinion. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to make fun of you. I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be rude, but I'm not going to get triggered, which makes my life much better. And at one point, you'll realize that you're not receiving the typical reaction, which might give you an aha moment going, why isn't she getting mad? Now, you can explain this, she's being full of herself, or you can go, I wonder if I could be so happy with who I am that nobody would hurt me with their words. Because, as we know, words have power only if we give them power. Words are just words, nothing else.
Yes, how important is this what you're sharing? Like whenever we reach that moment of healing, when you're done healing, so that means that whenever they say, not directly to you, but if somebody says a comment and you no longer take it personal, you no longer absorb it because you know your value, you know who you are. And I think that is a big step in going from surviving to thriving.
Absolutely. And it's not an easy road. And it doesn't mean you're going to feel comfortable with everything you say, but this will not have a lasting effect. Now, as a person who's thriving, you might go, okay, 7 people, let's say, believe that I'm being arrogant. Let's just use that word. As a person who is thriving, go, is this how I want to be taken? And if the answer is no, you can say, okay, well, how else can I project and say things I want to say so I'm received the way I want to be received? Now, this doesn't have to be important to you and you might ignore it, and that's perfectly okay too. Yet, if your goal is to be understood and heard by many people, maybe you can take this as a clue and not say that I'm arrogant. You're not. That the way you said it was taken as arrogant. Now, they can take it as however they want to, and that's perfectly okay. What you can do with this, still being, you know, grounded and knowing who you are, you can say, okay, what other way can I say this so these people, possibly some of them will not take it this way? Are there different tonality? Maybe I can use different words. Maybe I can slow down. Maybe I can speak quieter, right? There are different ways you can play around. Now, at the end of the day, it's your choice what you do with the feedback you get. And maybe those people who said that are not really important to you. On the other hand, growth comes from trying new things, being uncomfortable, and growing your toolbox. Because we do want people to respond to us in a certain way. And if we do it consciously, that's perfectly okay. If we do it subconsciously, that is unconscious incompetence. And it's brought to our attention. We go, I didn't know I was doing that. Question is, do I want to change that or I don't care? Both answers are perfectly okay because it's up to you. Will the change serve me? Very egotistical, but that's the start because you know who you are or where you want to go. And some changes are just not important, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you are at. in your path of healing and knowing where you want to be. And it might take a couple of, trial and error before we get to the next level of growth, to the next level of grounding. Whereas, like, if you hear that comment, it does not longer bother you. It does not longer bother you. You're like, okay, I've healed. I'm tough. I'm tougher now, so I'm willing to take it.
Are you
Uh,
tougher or are you more confident in you? See, that's
Confident. True. Yes. And you and I have had this conversation before, thicker skin.
yeah.
uh, but yeah, it is what how I'm trying to interpret it is it's, yeah, within me. Like, it's like, yeah, you can call me Mexican or you can say those stinky Mexicans. They no longer bother me because I know, who I am. I know where my people come from. Like, this is just an example.
And
Because
that's a beautiful.
you're also an immigrant, so that's why I share that.
Yes, and I think that's also very important because we both detached from the tribal mentality. And I strongly recommend anybody who considers we as we Mexican, we Polish people. No, there's no we. You are Polish, meaning you were born in Poland with a set of cultures, yet you are responsible for you and who you are. And the moment you detach yourself from the we mentality, you understand. It's like the we mentality also goes with the everybody, everyone, everything belief, right? All men are bad, all men cheat. No, not all men are bad, not all men cheat. The men you're thinking about cheated and was not a good person towards you. It doesn't mean he's bad. It just, in that situation, he was not a good person towards you. I'm Polish. I am not responsible for all the crazy things that Polish people have done. And to be quite honest, in the 80s, Polish people in Europe and in America were known as thieves. So I would hear jokes like, "Oh, you're a stupid Polak. Do you have my car?" Right? Assuming that in Germany they would say, "Go to Poland, you'll find your car." It was literally an international joke. And the truth is, a lot of Polish people who immigrated abroad were thieves. Now, am I a thief? No. Do I say, oh, we are not like this? Well, I don't know who is we. Those people who are stealing are thieves. There are people also who are not stealing and they're not thieves. So, you and me, we do not subscribe to the tribal mentality, which actually frees you and allows you to grow. So, I'm glad that you said that. And I'm so happy you're past that stage of us Mexicans, right? Yes, you're
Yeah.
from Mexico and you are a person in your own right. You're the best version of yourself at this moment that you can be.
Yeah. So going back to, any of our beautiful audience right now that's going through that healing, it's part of moving from surviving to thriving. And our beautiful Coach D created a course. You want to talk about what was that content of this course for some of our audience that might be interested in?
Absolutely. So I've decided to create something that is affordable, first of all, for everybody. That is something that if you have done the reading, you have done books, you have read, and you try to implement things. You went to events like UPW Tony Robbins, or maybe Joe Dispenza, or maybe Carrie J. Lima, or John C. Maxwell, or I don't know. Um, any of the fantastic people who are on the market, and you already know you have the bug, and you seem have moved the needle a little bit, but it stopped the progress. Like, but you don't know what to do next. The course is one of its kind. First of all, it tackles all the most important things we all struggle with, which is identity, anxiety, belief system, depression, all kinds of fears, and self-worth. And those are the main core. Now, what's beautiful about it, outside of the fact um, that you will be going, through the recordings, you will get a worksheet and homework for a week. And the next week, you actually meet with me personally in a group setting. You actually get coached. You actually have access to ask any of the questions. There's also, for 90 days, you're in a WhatsApp group where you can ask, and 24/7 there's somebody supporting you, responding, not only the people that are in the course, but also me in person, not somebody else. I respond to all your questions. And you can always email me as well, which is very different. Most courses you see online are just recorded online. You do it, you keep going. That's not how I roll. I want you to really, really succeed. I want you then, after you get the technical, practical knowledge, I want you to practice. And then we're going to embrace that and use neuron coding techniques to put that into your body, to put that into your system. So it becomes a permanent change. And I believe you were one of my beta testers. So you had the experience of looking at videos and learning from them and the worksheets. How did that work for you?
It worked for me wonderful, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because I was able to go to a new, what can I, on my health, I went to a new journey. And but I'm going to explain before that, I ended the school year. You know, May, you celebrate Mother's Day, you celebrate Teacher Appreciation Day. I was about to close the end of the year. And sometimes whenever that happens, you're just, you're just, you just want to end it.
Right.
And the discipline of eating healthier, the discipline of working out, the discipline of maintaining my normal routine went down, because we're just at the end of the school year, just more events, you're busy. So I had lost my habits of eating healthy. So whenever you asked me to become a beta tester for your program, I gladly did it. And what I noticed is that whenever I finish it, right after I finish it, it's like instead of going like, oh, I'm going to start next Monday to do this new, I'm not going to call it a diet. It was more like a challenge, like no wheat, no gluten, no dairy, no grains. you
Mhm.
know. Uh, so as soon as I finished, it was kind of like a catalyst where it's like, oh, I can do it. Boom! I jumped into 10 days eating healthy, and it put me back into my healthy habits, eating habits. So I was like, oh wow, it's like it truly helped me to go to that next level on my eating habits, because I had lost that discipline because of the end of the school year. And taking your course, it's just like that's what I want to accomplish. And I was able to do it like this, it was like a catalyst instead of going like, oh, I'm going to start next Monday, or maybe I'll do it next week. It's like, I finished your course, and then I went right after the following Monday, and I started that. It's called 5 to 5. Like you drink 5 cups of carrots for 5 days.
Hey, I am so proud of you. Congratulations. And that's part of the course. You get to choose where you implement that knowledge and how we all fall off the wagons. We all fall off our plans and goals. And that's very human. The question is, how long are you going to stay off and how quickly are you going to get back on? Because look, I got days where I really, really fall off the wagon and I do things that, well, maybe I shouldn't. But then I give myself, I'm like, okay, I'm only human. There's no perfection. It's okay once in a while to take a breath and just become imperfect human, enjoying the imperfection. And that allows you to love yourself even more. And I'm so happy you had the experience, that it did motivate you to put you back on track where you were going. And I'm so grateful I was part of that journey.
Yes, and then I would love to, for our audience to begin to think about their psychology, because you talk about our psychology, the psychology that we have about ourselves. You talk about the psychology that we have about the world. If we think that people are always after to get us, that there is no honest people anymore in the world, is like, how are you going to live? What is the attitude that we're going to have towards everybody? Are we going to make new friends really easily? Probably not.
Right, absolutely. What we believe creates our behaviors. So, as you said, if we believe everybody's out to get us, we're going to be in a protection mode. And imagine walking into a room of people and you see people who are before you say a word, protecting themselves, going, no, 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 no. I'm sure in the back of my head, I got to protect myself because that's not safe. Even the way we speak, the way we behave, move our hands, our body language will change. And it's not really inviting when you see somebody going, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. Yes, good. I'm happy that you like it. Okay, there's no connection there. And it doesn't come from the fact that those people are bad. There's nothing bad about them. They have just unfinished emotional business from the past. And this course allows you to discover your beliefs that create your behavior. And people will react in turn to your behavior. Because if you believe everybody is merry and everybody's beautiful and they might look at you like you're crazy, but most people will smile back and they'll go, oh my God, she's so happy. She's so jolly, right? And every type of belief has pros and cons. There is no right answer. Question is what you believe serving you? And the psychology you talked about, that is so important because I have this my favorite question, and I would ask, you're advanced in self-growth development, you're a coach, and you're a phenomenal coach, giving example to all the Latin ladies what is possible. You're just phenomenal. With that being said, when we go in our head and we talk in our head, and we all do that, especially before we go to bed, right? You get this strain of thoughts and you analyze everything and you project everything, and then you beat yourself down. Think about it. Would you be friends with somebody who would talk to you the way you talk to yourself in your head?
Of
Because,
course not, right?
right. And that is something we also learn in the course, how to stop that, how to stop the self beating, putting ourselves down, because our brains, from the psychology, neuropsychology part, from the emotional side, lies to us, and our emotions trigger certain thoughts that are automatic. They're called ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. So there are multiple ways we can do that, and even changing that in your life changes the quality of life. Because if you're not putting yourself down every day, guess what, you feel much better on a daily basis.
Yes, yes. Then you see your potential, right?
Absolutely.
You
And
begin to see
yes, you begin to see.
your potential, like, oh, I was able, what were the three things that I got done today? Then you, oh yeah, grateful for this, and that. And then you begin to stack the goodness within you.
Absolutely. And guess what? There is a science, there's a study saying that it's not the intensity of positive emotions that makes your life better. It's the frequency of positive emotions. And that is so important because you can be just tiny smile 10 times a day will have more impact on quality of your life than $1 million, win in a lottery. And lottery is a great example of our life. We're waiting for those big things, the marriage, the children, whatever else we're waiting for those, getting promoted. Oh, that's going to be so awesome. But we don't have the tools to handle that when we get there. And that's what happens with lottery winners. It's not that they're bad people, that they don't have the knowledge and tools how to use that money to elevate them and keep being on that level, because they're going into their old patterns, which kept them at a level of income that they were at. If we keep doing the same thing over and over, we're going to get the same results.
Yeah, because here we go. This is something I learned in the last past 2 weeks, which I think it's something that I need it because it came from two different sources. It's like
Okay.
we land, when you win someone wins the lottery, when someone gets the promotion, when someone gets, to get married, something that they were looking for, something that's amazing. Then we land on the level of our training. We land on the level of our habits. So you're only going to make it grow and enjoy it as long as those habits are there, as long as our training is there to continue to nurture it.
That is so brilliant what you said. That is just spot on. We defer back to the level of our training. So we got to prepare for the good times before they come so we can fully utilize them. We got to prepare to love when the true love shows up. We got to prepare how to invest our money before we get the money. We got to prepare to be happy before the true happiness arrives. And maybe it has arrived, you just haven't learned how to recognize it. There's so many amazing things that we can prepare for. There are so many amazing things that we can experience if we just let it and we learn the tools. So, if you are the person who reads books, do you read a book, underline things, and put it away and forget what was in there? Or do you really read the book, underline the things, and then choose one or two things and you implement them? That is the difference between knowing and growing.
Definitely. Yes, put it to practice. Pick one or two things. And what happens, Coach D, whenever those books are no longer enough? What do you recommend us to do?
That is the time you get a coach, you get a therapist, and you get a course with a life trainer. That is so important. I understand, see, because another course that you do online without the live interaction is just another book, just in a visual way. You need the physical person that's going to hold you accountable, that will ask you the right questions, that will push you forward so you can implement the strategies you choose. And that's very important. You choose are the most important for you and will get you where you want to go. And at every stage, you will have different things you will need. This is the time, where you get a formal coach, a psychologist, a therapist, or, it's like people train to run, right? And you train, you go to that track and you're a quick runner. And then at one point, you end up at a situation where you cannot run faster anymore. Yet you have that potential, but you're doing something, it just, you can't really see it. Notice that every phenomenal trainer, every phenomenal successful person, there are voice coaches that teach you how to sing even better. There are sports coaches. There are business coaches. There are people who open the blind spots for you and allow you to progress behind that door that you didn't see even. That is the time to start getting life support. And you get to choose from multitude of phenomenal people. But notice that if you look at the people who are actually great at what they're doing, they're very successful. All of them had either teachers or coaches. I mean, we go to school for a reason. And
Yeah. Oh, as I'm sorry, but as you're talking, is like whenever you and I sometimes are in a group coaching session, then Joseph McClendon III just asks simple questions, directly one on one, and then we're like, oh, okay, I got it.
and you've heard that over and over, but because the intention and attention, and it was the right timing. That's the key. Books are great. Courses, video courses are great. Live 2-day trainings are great, but they build you up, and then you need the accountability. Then you need somebody to keep pushing you and holding you accountable to the words you say. Because, I know a lot of things. I mean, like Joseph says, everybody knows how to lose weight, like literally everybody. And how many of us really do it? Like, do we follow through? See, the success is in the follow through. It's all in the tenacity. It's in the grit. It's not necessarily in knowing. I mean, I don't know how about you, but I know people who have so much knowledge. They're so amazing to listen to. And they're living in a way that I would never want to live. And the question is, because maybe they're happy, although usually they complain that, oh, that person did this, oh, that person. Well, why don't you use the knowledge? Why? Because it's uncomfortable. And there's another beautiful thing in life, that we do things the quickest in our comfort zone. It's very different. Look at this. We do things the quickest in our comfort zone. Why? because we're aware of it. We know what we know, and those things are easy for us. But then we can only stay in this little circle of comfort zone, and we're going to be great in that little thing. But if we want to do more, we need to create a bigger comfort zone, and then bigger comfort zone, and make more decisions that at the beginning, yes, they'll be uncomfortable, but later on they'll be so natural to us. They'll become our new habits, and those habits are so important, right?
Yeah, because we default to the level of our habits wherever we're going. You're
And
gonna
I
start,
love,
a new project. Is like no matter what, we're gonna default to the level of our habits. Now, where can we find you?
well, you can find me on LinkedIn, which we're right now streaming, and that's my regular profile. You can find me on a page, Your Brain Coach D. I have a website, Your Brain Coach D, as well. So you can go there.com, Facebook, Your Brain Coach D, Instagram, Your Brain Coach D. So wherever you go, Your Brain Coach D is my handle. And I am putting out a lot of knowledge also that you get to implement. I love asking you questions where you go, I call this the coaching pills, where you go, am I doing this? What can I do to change it? But if you're past the reading books and going to another live event and you really want to start implementing more and more things and have accountability, I really invite you to look at the course. It is definitely something that there's no excuse if you're ready to take your life to the next level and get rid of anxiety, those automatic negative thoughts, the fear, the low self-worth, and feeling inadequate or not important enough. That is definitely something
Yes.
looking at.
I'm just going to add something real quick that on your course, what Coach D does is that you have to look back in your past on a time where you conquer something and the time that you achieve something. So she links it, or she helps you link it to this new project that you want to achieve, to this new psychology that you're trying to adopt. She's very science based. We have had many conversations, and sometimes she's like, I don't agree with that because I have to see it. Like she has to see that it's science based before she can share it with anybody, before she can kind of look at it and believe it, because that's just who she is. She's science based.
I am definitely science based, and that's why I love Dr. Amen. As far as I know, I'm one of few coaches in the world that looks at your blood work when he coached it with me one on one, not in the general course. And that is because if your body is not producing neurotransmitters, I can work all I want with you, but those new neural pathways will not be forming because your body is not producing the support for the new neural pathways to be formed. And if you guys want to, it's so phenomenal. Every time you do something new, there's a new neural pathway formed. And if you want to go, you can go to YouTube, and there's like I think 1 minute clip of literally neurons connecting together. And they're very thin, like paper thin, like hair thin. And guess what? Every time you repeat an action, willingly or unwillingly, that thin hair becomes a ribbon. Then it becomes a little path. Then it becomes a road. Then it becomes a two-way road. Then it becomes a highway. And then it becomes a freeway. And every time you repeat something, you strengthen those neural pathways and neurons. So that is so important in what habits you have. That's why it's so important how you react to things and you're aware of it so you can change it. So you default to your best behavior instead of the one that just kind of happened without you knowing.
Yes, how beautiful it is, learning to default to our best behavior whenever. Here we go. I'm going to share something real quick. We only have 1 minute, but I've given my husband the task, or he took the task to go pay the utility bill. In the utility bill, he went and paid the gas bill. So when we came back from work, there was no electricity because the office had changed like 3 years ago. I'm the one that pays the bills. But he offered to pay the bill. So I had to default to my best behavior whenever the electricity was shut down. So I was like, and my kids watch me. So I was like, you learn to, instead of like blowing up because there is no electricity, you send him to pay the bill. And it's like, okay, so what do we do next?
Exactly. Because we cannot change
Breathing.
the past. But
Yeah, yeah.
life
So
is situation differently and default to our best behavior, which you did so awesomely. I'm sure your husband is extremely grateful for that.
Oh, but anyway, another story to tell for another time with more detail. Thank you so much for being here, Coach D. Any last message? They were we ran out of time. Thank you for your time. Any last message you want to share?
Every one of us is absolutely amazing and absolutely beautiful. What is not amazing and not beautiful is us not acknowledging that and not becoming even better version of ourselves so we can serve ourselves and the world and the ones we love even better.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here today. Remember that you're the only one that can give power to your talents. You're the only one that can give life to your dreams. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out SpanglishWorld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings, blessings. Yay!